Hello, kindergarten, first and second grade. This is your next art lesson from your friendly neighborhood art teacher, Mrs. Franz. This is our second lesson on the elements of art. We are going to be talking about the elements of art. So a quick review. What are the elements of art? They are the building blocks of art. What you need to build your artwork. There are line, color, shape, form, space, texture, and value. And if you want to know the truth, Miss Franz is a little upset with herself for missing out on writing space there last week. You know, sometimes when you just know something is missing, you gotta listen to your heart and go, what is that? What am I missing? I knew I was missing something. So, space is in there too. So, what we're going to be working on this week is shape, form, and space. What do we mean by shapes? Shapes are objects that are two-dimensional and are usually defined by drawing a line. A line can be a line on its own, but when you connect it back together, they make shapes. There are two main types of shapes that we know of, geometric and organic. And you can see two really good examples on the screen. So a geometric shape is a shape that we have names for, shapes that you can recognize by their amount of their sides, like a triangle that has 3 sides, a rectangle that has 4 sides, 2 sides are long, 2 sides are short. There's a diamond, which has 4 equal sides, but they have angles. We know squares, we know ovals, we know circles, and octagons are different sides. They're shapes that have different sides. One is 6, one is 8. An organic shape is like a free form kind of shape. We don't really have a name for some of these. Some people look at them and just call them blobs. And they are, but you know, I like to think of them as other things. Like you could see those as clouds, you could see those as paint splatters, you could see that as water. They're very free form. And speaking of form, form is an object that is three-dimensional or have a length, a width, and a height. Shapes are two-dimensional, which means they are flat. And form is three-dimensional. You can see the example of forms on the right. A triangle becomes a triangular prism. A rectangle becomes a rectangular prism. A circle can become a cylinder or a sphere, and a semicircle can help us create a cone. The next we're going to talk about is shape. Shape can mean two things. A feeling of depth or 3 dimension in a picture, or the artist's use of an area within the picture. Before I go any farther on this, I want you to think back to our story, The Dot. There was a point in the book where it said Vashti created a dot by not putting any dots in a spot. She made a big open area and she filled dots around but not inside. So that's what we're going to talk about next. That is what negative and positive space are. So let's look at these examples. The circle up top has dots inside of it. The dots that are inside of that make you focus on it, and that makes them the positive space. The dots that are outside of that circle on the bottom one are the focus of your art there. So there's still the positive space. It's a little confusing. It's okay if you don't get it right now because this is honestly a little bit more of a really big kid kind of concept. But positive space is where you focus on the art, and negative space is where you don't focus on the art. Let's look at some more examples. So here's another one. It's kind of classic. Moms and dads might recognize it. If you look at the picture on the left where the vase is in black, you probably immediately see that there's a vase. But if you switch it and you make the vase white and you make the background black, you notice that there are faces there. So that was the negative space. The vase is the positive space, which is where you focus first, and the negative space is what's around it. And that is where people notice that there's usually faces. Here's the good news. I'm not going to make you do anything with positive and negative space. We're still going to talk about it because we're still going to be filling it up, but I'm not going to make you remember which one is which. So your art project for this week is going to be creating this kind of artwork. You're going to be using shapes, colors, and lines to fill up the space. These shapes will be in primary colors and the lines will be in secondary colors. So we're going to start, and I'm going to show you how to do this. So I've got my sketchbook. Remember, we're working in our sketchbook or on a piece of paper, and you are going to draw some shapes with your primary colors. We've got blue, red, and yellow. You pick about 5 to 6 shapes that you want to do. So I'm going to do, and don't make them all the same size. I mean, if they're all, you know, little circles, that's going to get kind of boring. We want to make sure that we've got big shapes. So I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to pick, I'm going to do a red circle. And then I'm going to make sure, I'm going to do a big blue triangle. And it's okay if you get a little bit outside the lines, because look, I'm going to come back through, and then I can make that part of my shape. And then I need to make at least one more. I mean, I need to make more than that, but I'm going to do a square. Now I said 5 to 6 shapes. Am I done? Nope, that's right. I've only done 3. So I need to come up with some more. I'm going to make a red, I'll make a little red square down here. And then I'm going to make another blue object shape. I'm going to make I'll move this so you can see a little bit. I think I will do I already did a triangle, so, ooh, I know. I'll do a little blue circle. Uh-oh, you can't see it. Sorry. I'll do a little blue circle down there. And then my last shape needs to be yellow, so I'm going to make it another triangle. You can use different shapes. I'm just doing these, so I'm going to flip it that way so you can see a little bit better. So I'm done with my primary shapes. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I wouldn't put too many more because yeah, you want to have some space to work with yours. So I have the primary colors. Next, I'm going to work with my secondary colors. I want to start making the lines that go around my shapes. So I'm going to start, I want to put a purple line around the square. All of my lines for there are going to be square. Or, all of my lines around the yellow square are going to be purple. But next, I think I'm going to make all of the lines around my yellow triangle green. And I'm deciding that I'm going to make all of my lines around the blue triangle, they're going to be orange. And now I'm back to my color again, so I'm going to say all of the lines around my blue dot are going to be green. Let's do all of my lines around the orange, around the red is going to be orange. Then all of these are going to be one color, or all of those are going to be purple. So now that I've decided what colors I'm going to put around them, I want to keep going. So I'm going to make one more. And then I'm going to make another one, and uh-oh, look, I ran into my orange. Well, I'm going to decide that now I'm going to stop because I ran into that color, and I'm going to pick up with my orange. But look what I'm going to do. Instead of going and overlapping, I'm going to make the orange line start at the purple. So he doesn't touch him. I mean, he doesn't overlap. So I'm going to do that one more time because, uh-oh, now look, I'm going to run into that green. So I'm going to finish there, and I'm going to come up here, and yep, totally ran into that green. So what am I going to do now? I'm going to pick up this green. And I'm going to start my lines behind the orange. And I'm going to keep going until I flip a few more. I'm going to come back over here, and now I've got lots of space for my orange. And whoops, now see my orange just hit something, so I'm going to stop. I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to work on my purple. So I've got purple. It's going to come out, and that purple is going to hit this orange right. Oh, it's getting really close, so I'm going to keep going. But once I hit the orange, I stopped. I'm going to do that again down here. So I've come out pretty far, and now I've only got one left that I haven't done. So, Miss Franz, that's not orange, that's green. So now I'm going to do green. Remember, where it touches the other lines, I'm not going to go and overlap it. I'm going to let it go until it touches the other side. So then I'm going to keep going out. I'm going to keep going out. Once you make it this far, you may stop. But if you want a challenge, see if you can keep pushing out your lines until you fill up more of your space. So I'm making sure my lines don't touch. I mean, don't get mixed up with the other lines. I know that might be a little difficult to understand. Oops, that one came out really big. That's okay. So I'm going to keep going. This is just a fun, kind of easy way to challenge yourself with an art project. I'm going to show you some of my other student examples, and then I will let you get started. So here are some other examples that kindergartners have done. If you would like to cut out some shapes with your with construction paper, you can. But since I don't know if everyone has any, it's okay if you don't. You can just draw your shapes instead. So let me pull up. There we go. And here we go. I will move myself a little bit so I'm not covering up everything. All right, I guess that's a good spot. So that is your assignment for this week in art. Remember, you're using shapes and lines and colors, and you're going to fill up the whole space. Next week we'll be doing value and texture. So I will see you guys. Make sure you check your seesaw assignment for week 5. Thank you very much. Bye.